Yeah. Yes. Okay, we'll get started in just a few minutes. We got a board member coming in and things look up, so we're just gonna allow them to get in, and then we'll start. You like church, we'll all get up. Shake each other's hands and do stuff.
Ronnie Woman who lives in Los Angeles.
Yes. All right. We will call this meeting to order. It is April 20th. It is 6:03 p.m. and this is the regularly scheduled board meeting of the Bay City ISD trustees. We are located in the H.J. McAllister Administration Building, and this meeting was posted in accordance with law and policy. The meeting is audible to the public on our YouTube channel. And will you now please rise and we'll say the prayer, and then we'll have a pledge of allegiance from the king. Heavenly gracious Father God, we thank you for this day today. We thank you for the rain, and we thank you for clearing it up and giving us good weather so that we can have a meeting tonight. God, we ask that you be with the families in North Carolina that are dealing with tragedy this day. Be with each and every one of those families and help them heal. We ask that you be with everyone that's here tonight and those who couldn't be here. God, I thank you for this full boardroom. It means that there are a lot of children here being celebrated, and it means there's a lot of community members, families, teachers, administrators, parents, and board members that all want to work together collaboratively to make this district better. I ask that you place on the hearts of those here making decisions tonight what is in the best interest of each and every student in our district. God, we thank you again for this time. We give all the grace and glory to you in heaven's name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. We have Teeny Homes Elementaries. pastor out in the hallway, but I decided to not call him in. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to Texas flag, honor to allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. Okay, good news. So this is a portion of the board meeting where board members, you've experienced any good news around the district or want to brag on somebody, something, or some program. Well, Bill, yes, Mr. Hank.
Of course I do. Well, last week we were with, Cherry, Cherry Elementary, they had picnic day.
Yep.
And it was really great to see for the parents and for myself as, a representative of other districts, to see the students in the element. I mean, they were just all over the place with each other, introducing the parents to their friends and it was great. And after that, we went over to, Lenny Roberts got a little messy. They had their powder color spray day, of course, I was rainbow from head to toe, myself, Mr. Brooks. Mr. Haley, he was a little quick for us, he didn't catch it. But, Miss Rose showed. So it was really great to really be out with the kids, and I say that, and again, I may have told some of you parents that day, thank you for letting us be a part of your students' life. It was really, exciting, it was really, really a lot of fun, it really was, for the students as well as for us as well.
Sharon.
I just want to sit here and not say anything. And tell you, thank you for the cards, phone call, for your thoughts and your prayers. Surely without you guys, without only looking, nobody telling where I've been. Not here looking at y'all, but I do appreciate you. It lets me know that the community that I live in truly cares. And that means a whole hell of a lot to me. The nurse asked me in there, so this Robinson, so what did you tell me your nickname was? And I said, well, you want me to tell you CSG? And I said, Pat. He said, well, you have really stood on having 9 lives. You just hope that there are many more. And I said, and that's because of God. So I am thankful, and I'm sorry that I have not been here as much as I would have wanted to, but some things have begun. So thank you for everything. Thank you for all that you're doing for the students, parents, neighbors, community. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharon. I just want to brag on a couple programs. Dungeoneers are doing it again. They're advancing. They're going to the region championships this weekend. Track, I think we won district, boys won district for the first time in a few years. We have 10 athletes advancing to the area in May. So excited to watch those athletes move on and see who can advance even further. And then I saw Coach Jones here. He is. It's nice to see the football lights on again in the morning. It's dark when we drive up at 5:30 every day for weights, but now that the football lights are on, it's getting excited to see the boys out there running around. So thank you to every coach actually, because a lot of them are up there at 5:30 every day, just like we are, and they happily do it. So appreciate those. And then not being celebrated tonight, but here, our freshman tennis team went through district and won gold. And so they're here. You two raise your hand. Lily and Emily. These little girls went gold. They're here for an academic reason though. So But it's just tons of good stuff happening in the district, both academically and athletically, all around. So just happy and excited to see it be a part of it. Anything else? Okay. We will now move into celebration of excellence, Bay City High School state qualifiers.
So thank you for highlighting some of the other programs. We do still really appreciate being to bring our state qualifiers to you to receive awards. And tonight we have our two debate coaches, Coach Trevino and Ms. Hodges, who are going to start with their introductions here in a moment. We also have film, which is part of kind of our advanced academics as well as UIL. And then powerlifting, so a little bit from the athletic side as well. So Coach Bernard, if you will start. And then we'll progress through the fine arts. Good evening, everyone. I'm Coach Bernard. I'm over the girls powerlifting, and today I would like to celebrate Brianna Solis. If you come stand. So this is Brianna's first year completing powerlifting, and as a senior, she was in a very competitive 165 weight class. So when she got to state, she was placed at like number 21, which is at the very bottom, and she ended up finishing in the top 10, which was something very good to be proud of. So, not only did she qualify, but she was actually the 165 regional champion. So that's something that's. Coach Trevino is going to go next with our CX debate.
So I'm driving up here. I thought about a bunch of things I could say, but they all went out the window. So we won gold for the first time in a decade. So you stood up real quick, and I was trying to talk about it. So we get Elijah Douglas, also known as Doug. Lillian Works, also known as Lily. And Emily Sparkmine, also known as Anna. One less one is Taylor Tennant, but because Taylor just does excellent things everything she does, she's currently on a Zoom call right now, and I'm dropping this off you, right? Yeah, that'll work. So got brought in to Bay City to coach football, baseball, policy debate, help out the other debate stuff. We're gonna help out one act now. UIL academics, because who needs free time, right? So started coaching policy debate in August as soon as I got on, and we had to do a bunch of changes this year. A bunch of different folks kind of came and went, but we had 4 that we brought to district in February. Ended up taking first and second place, sweeping out Meadville, which is always a beautiful thing. Ended up going to the state championship in March, and both teams won at least one round. And the exciting thing, I guess 2 exciting things about that. One, the self-recognition from these teams to realize we need to do more and we need to be better. And 2, freshman, junior. We're coming back. Coming back in big way.
Right, and last but not least, I'm Brittany Hodges. I'm the UIL academic coordinator and debate coach at Bay City High School. So I wanted to recognize Jasmine Glenn for her second trip to the state championship for UIL film. So Jasmine has competed in UIL film all 4 years of high school. Her freshman year, she earned a silver medal at the state championship. And since then, the contest has grown and gotten more competitive. And so we're super proud of her growth and dedication to her art. And this year she earned 4th place overall in the state. So we're happy to celebrate Jasmine today.
Sure, we'll let the board members comment behind and coaches.
I'll share with you.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
Perfect, thank you.
Congratulations. Boy, it's state actor, by the way. Very good. Next, we'll recognize our Teeny Holmes Elementary students. Lord. Are you tonight?
Good, and you?
Great.
Good. So I'm gonna piggyback off of, Mr. Spartan, and I agree with him, there are great things happening across the district, but. Athletically and. All that recognition. So, good evening, members of the board and superintendent, to give you a sense of the scale of tonight's celebration. For Timmy Holmes Elementary, 3 years ago, only 3 students total had finished ST math. At the end of the school year, and 0 students finished like step. This year, across 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades, we have seen an explosion of growth. In literacy, 53 students have fully completed their Lexia journey. In math, a staggering 202 students have mastered the entire ST math curriculum. A total of 255 students have completed a program. Behind every student who conquered a difficult ST math puzzle or mastered a Lexia level is a teacher who provided the encouragement and data-driven support to get them there. Our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers have done more than just monitor these programs. They have analyzed the data to identify exactly where a student was stuck, provided one-on-one interventions to bridge the gap between digital practice and classroom application. They have cultivated a culture of perseverance, reminding our students that mistakes are just part of the learning process. To our teachers, thank you for your dedication to ensuring every student has the tools and the confidence to reach the finish line. Your commitment is the heartbeat of this success. Tonight, we are here for a very special celebration of excellence. We are honoring a total of 42 students who have shown incredible perseverance by completing their personalized journeys in both ST Math and Lexia. To understand the magnitude of this achievement, I'd like to briefly share what these programs represent. ST Math is a visual instructional program based on neuroscience. Instead of starting with traditional formulas, it uses spatial temporal puzzles to help students see the math. By the time they reach a certificate of completion, they have mastered a rigorous series of challenges that prove they don't just know how to find an answer, but they deeply understand the mathematical concepts behind it. In Lexia, these 42 students have moved through a systematic evidence-based path. They have mastered critical areas like phonics, fluency, and complex comprehension. This completion signifies they have the literacy foundation necessary not just to read, but to learn across all subjects. Completing these programs requires hundreds of puzzles solved and dozens of units mastered. It is a marathon, not a sprint. At this time, it is my honor to invite these 42 scholars forward to receive their certificates of completion for ST Math and Lexia. Please join me in celebrating their hard work. Leonardo Amezquita. Cristian Escamilla. John Connor Eslebaum. Helpin. Ian Lara. Evelyn Moya. Juan Omechekwa. Diego Benigno Garza. Robert Valdez. Joely Williams. Melissa Sustaita. That was third grade, I now have fourth grade. Luis Mejia Alpizar. Catherine Barajas Hurtado. Eduardo Bautista. Grace Pano. Jackson Cortez. Eli Costilla. Angler Ebert. Abigail King. Eleanor King. Carlos Lima Romero. Ivor Luna. William Martinez. Damian Massa Zamora. Kane Powers. Elena Rubio. Isabela Solis. That's fourth grade. We're going on to fifth grades. Cadence Cornett. Kimberly is Easton. Joanne Gibson. Glenn Henderson. Gabby Lara. Luis Lule. Brooklyn O'Neill. Jovan Ramirez. Fabian Rosas. Amy Sepulveda. Amy Park. Hey. We're gonna. It's definitely, we're gonna have to read some of these. On that. If I have any teachers, and if you want to learn a picture or then walk. Still be a lot. Sorry, y'all. Keep going, so sorry. Hang on, and please don't move into my lid. Hey. Hey, we're good, thank y'all.
Just gonna shut the door.
Alrighty, we always wait for everybody to exit so we can give a little quiet back. And be able to and really focus. But that is probably our favorite part of the meeting. So be able to celebrate the kids. They come up here, get a piece of paper and to see a smile on their face and they get to hear your name called and you know, stand up in a room full of their peers and teachers and other adults. And so super excited to celebrate our kids. Moving on the agenda, audience with patrons. And so we had 0 people sign up prior to the meeting. Item 7, Bay City governance. Tonight we have the junior high and King Holmes Elementary March benchmark TIA growth. Floor is. Have to see you again.
So the first, when you open up your folder, the first document that we're gonna go over is this one right here. It has 1 goal, 1 team, 1 voice, and this document is actually part of the 1-pager that as principals we submit at the beginning of the school year with the systems and structures that we currently have in place on campus that help us, you know, move the campus forward and keep the goal at the upfront. And so from this document, the part that I will be focusing on is on the top right-hand side, high quality instruction. And so then I'll go ahead and go into detail and explaining each one of those systems within that structure that have taken us to where we're currently at within our team. While we celebrate our digital successes, the core of our growth at King Holmes is rooted in high quality tier 1 instruction. Through our Bluebonnet PLCs, a recently Bluebonnet coach shows up every week on Tuesdays to further coach and help our teachers internalize the lessons. To assist the teachers with internalization of the lessons for math and science, our teachers engage in a rigorous backward design process.
the start with the end goal, the teaks, and map out exactly how to get there using our structured pacing guidance. The PLC process and fundamental vibe. Our PLC process is for the heavy lifting happens. Teachers aren't just planning, they are looking at common formative assessments to see exactly which students have mastered a skill and which need more support. We utilize the fundamental vibe, a framework of proven instructional practices to ensure that every minute in the classroom is purposeful and engaged. This isn't just a goal, it's reinforced through weekly walkthroughs, ensuring that our non-negotiables are present in every classroom every day. Data-driven intervention. What makes Tenney Homes unique is how we act on this data. We have implemented a campus-wide intervention time called prime time. This is a sacred block in our schedule that allows teachers to move from whole group instruction to high impact small group focus. During this time, teachers target specific students, specific skills, and specific teams that were identified during our data meetings. This ensures that we are constantly moving our TIA goals to providing growth for everyone. Data is only powerful if it changes what happens in the classroom. That is why our weekly walkthroughs are followed by immediate purposeful action. I immediately meet with Mrs. Rodriguez to deconstruct what we see in our classrooms. We don't just look for good teaching, we look for specific high leverage needs. Specifically, we focus on coaching conversations in the T-test rubrics. 3 areas within the T-test rubric under domain 2, and that'll be 2.1, achieving expectations, 2.4, differentiation, and 2.5, monitoring. Together with aggressive monitoring. It's just that aggressive monitoring does not fall under any of the dimensions. We learn aggressive monitoring through coaching. And so if a teacher is going through her aggressive monitoring, that means that they are walking around the classroom while they are teaching, making sure that little Johnny is staying on task and catching any misconceptions, then it automatically moves into achieving expectations. Because the teacher is making sure that little Johnny is achieving the expectations that's tied back to the skill that she's currently teaching. If little Johnny doesn't get it, then she knows right there that she needs to provide a different way of teaching what she's currently teaching in the way that she's teaching it. And so it happens live, it's very organic. And then right after that is the monitoring address. So little Johnny got it already, it's a check mark, I move on to the next one, right? And then of course, we know as teachers, who are the students that we need to be targeting based on our data. So it's a very organic, live way of teaching. And so that's where our T-test conversations have really focused on. The domain 3 has to do with classroom management, the learning, the way the culture that we're providing for the students, the classroom management. And so we've gotten really good at that one. And so the next step is to go into domain 2, which is these to be that I just explained. By focusing our feedback on these 3 areas, we aren't just evaluating teachers, we are growing them. This targeted coaching is the primary lever we use to move our TIA growth scores and ultimately our student success. While our 3rd graders are establishing their first baseline, our 4th and 5th grade strategy takes a deeper dive into historical data. For these students, we aren't just looking at where they started this year. We are comparing their February and March benchmark performance directly against their previous year's STAR scores. This apples to apples comparison is what truly allows us to see individual student growth. By mapping current mastery back to their prior state performance, we gain a clear predictive view of our TIA scores. And our TIA scores are in this document right here. So I'll go ahead and start off with 3rd grade reading. We have a total of 16 half points, a total of 144 1 point, students that gave us a whole point. with a total growth points of 152, which equals to 72%. And so, let me go over the math, and then I'll explain a little bit more. Third grade math. 12 total half points, 146 total 1 points. Total growth points, 152, which equals to 70% in growth. So in third grade, this is how it is compared. Week 4 of school, the third graders took a full release STAR test, benchmark test, from not 2025 to 2010. And what they got, right? I mean, we knew that the scores weren't going to be anywhere, you know, this is week 4 of school. So they took the benchmark, week 3, week 4 of February. And then that is what we now compare. We compared the benchmark from week 4 to the benchmark after 6.5 months of teaching them. We don't put these points together ourselves. We use a template that is released to us by Lead Forward, John. And Lead Forward every year, he releases the template that we're going to use, you know, this new year. Stacy Goodry did a great job back when she started in the district at showing the academic team and the principals how to use this template. And so we just, you know, use the instructions and we dump the data in there, and then we categorize it by teacher. And so this is how and this is what the state uses, you know. That is how we ended up at 72% in reading and at 70% in math, based on what they took week 4 in comparison to week 4 of school. Fourth grade reading, 33 total half points, 114 total 1 points, a total of 130.5 points, which equals to 60% growth. Fourth grade math, 31 half points, 121 total 1 points, which total growth points is 136.5, which equals to 62% growth. Fifth grade reading, 24 half points, a total of 116 1 points, a total of 128 total growth points, which equals to 58% growth. Fifth grade math, 40 half points, 91 points, a total of 110 points, which equals to 50% in growth. Fifth grade science, 60 half points, 37 1 points, a total of 127 points, which equals to 60% growth. So from there, I'm gonna have you look at this document right here. These 2 documents right here. I have blacked out the teacher's name and I have deleted what STAR subject that teacher needed to for identifying purposes. And then if you look at the yellow column, that is the growth that teacher has shown. And so this is our preliminary data based on benchmark scores. If this is the data that we were to turn in October to TA and Texas Tech, out of 28 teachers that we would submit, 20 would qualify for a TIA allotment, incentive allotment. And then, we are geared to a TIA. If you go down the yellow column, you will also see that the ones that have missed it, it's literally 5. They're very, very close.
What is the cutoff? 55%?
Yeah, this year we 50. Oh, this last year was
Was 50.
They added 11.
Yes.
So it's.
So the document,
It's 8.
James,
And they.
at the bottom gives you the information, yes, so from 50 to 60%, minimum 50, then it even gives you like how much money the division qualifies. No, there. So from 50, it would be acknowledged, 55 recognized, 60 exemplary, 70% missed. So I'm going to give you a closing statement and then I'll go ahead and open it for any questions. In closing, what you have seen tonight is not just a collection of numbers or a list of programs. It is a culture of excellence that has been putting itself together with a lot of hard work and dedication and sweat from a lot of staff members. Nonstop day after day. This is Kenny Homes in action. From the 42 students who conquered both ST Math and Alexia, to our third graders who are showing measurable growth between week 4 and March. The trajectory is clear. We are successful because we are aligned to our high quality tier 1 instruction with a relentless focus on data and the key test dimensions that matter most. By supporting our teachers through the PLC process and providing the sacred time for campus-wide intervention, we are ensuring that excellence isn't just a goal. It's our daily standard. With the partnership of leaders like Mrs. Rodriguez, Mr. Hammond, and the entire admin team, and the dedication of our entire staff, we are not only preparing our students for the start, we are providing them with the foundational skills they need for a lifetime of success. Thank you for your continued support for our students, our teachers, and the vision of Kenny Homes Elementary. I am now happy to answer any questions.
Great,
Thank you, Mrs. Robinson.
Documents, and then my first stop, wow. We found a blessing, that I'm super proud to the students, and love to teachers and the students. And that tells me that you're not setting for it's the high expectation that y'all have at that school. And I'm hoping that after tonight and across the board, that we see those high standards continue. Say, God, I can hear you now, I'm already super excited. So what they're gonna do on the test, and we might have you all with the
Sure will.
But one of the things I want to point out is, remember last year with LSD, years before, we always struggled with the kind of data that we were reporting, it wasn't necessarily in line, and so how's this again? And why are we doing this, why are we testing this, and that? And so last year, when we got out of LSG and we decided to continue with this model, we talked about actually measuring what the work was on the campus. So the work on the campus is student growth. And the teacher would get rewarded for that student growth, so that they would get designated if they have enough of their students that meet what the minimum growth is, what is actually considered growth by the state, start transition teams. And be able to see the amount of improvement for me is really awesome. And the teaching and learning that's going on really at all the campuses is really good. It's about the cycle of teaching and learning, the alignment between what is written, what is taught, and what is tested. But then not leaving it there, monitoring how they're doing in real time, not just testing them and walking away. What are you gonna do with that data? How are you gonna use it? And it happens every week. They're talking about that, and then how do they get it across better to the students, different mode of instruction? How do we circle back around? So I'm really excited about what the kids are gonna do this year. I think we are going to see some really great growth for all of our kids, and I'm excited, and I really appreciate all the hard work.
Ms. George,
Yes, sir.
what steps were taken to show this much growth? Saturday tutorials, after school, one-on-one?
That's a great question. So aside from our prime time, that we have in each one of the grade levels, we started after school tutorials at the first week of the second 6 weeks. And that first semester, it was twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays was ELAR designated or math, and vice versa for Thursday. As soon as we came back in January, well, we not only have to worry about the benchmark, and start preparing them for start, but we also have TELPAS. So we started off, I want to say, not the first Saturday when we came back in January, but for sure the second Saturday. We had Saturday tutorials the first semester as well, but not as consecutive as they were the second semester. So The second semester, tutoring goes from 2 days to 3 days. From the time we come back to right before benchmark. After benchmark, tutoring goes from 3 days after school to 4 days after. And then Saturday, the only reason we will not have a Saturday tutorial is if, we're on a holiday. Or you know how the students got Friday off because the teachers were having a work day. So then that Saturday, they also didn't. From there on, every single Saturday, we have a Saturday tutorial. Because we have 7 tests, 7 start tests, 2 in 3rd, 2 in 4th grade and 3 in 5th grade. Plus TELPAS. So TELPAS Academy was also part of our Saturday tutorials. Our goal was always, 100+ students, and we met our goal more than a couple of Saturdays. We have incentives for the students to show up on Saturdays. Not so much for after school, we have little trinkets, but for Saturday, like we'll raffle off scooters, bikes, little fanny packs that the girls like to carry, water bottles, we give them pizza, donuts, like just to get them to come. I want the parent just to go drop them off, we will take care of the rest.
So the students were, those that did attend the tutorials, were they recognized as you as your staff as needing tutorials or?
Yes.
Was open to every student?
No, so we recognize our students, and the earlier the student is recognized, so we start off the second 6 weeks with the most high need student, the one that's going to need a lot more intervention. And as the weeks and the 6 weeks go by, then we start adding, other students. I'm gonna say maybe the last 3 Saturdays, the teachers, aside from the, at-risk students that need intervention, they also wanted students to go from meets to masters, because you show growth also if you go from meets to masters. You show growth just by staying at masters, so then they want to focus on those students, yes. No.
And you said how many qualified, 20? The 25.
20 out of 28 that we would be able to submit data.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a great evening, a great night.
All right, Ms. Cummings. So the same premise, this company's gonna give you the data that they went through. So remember, you get, you start, so let's say I'm in the 7th grade and I take reading. And when I go to the 8th grade, I'm gonna take reading. So you wanna measure how they did on the 7th grade reading to when they take it 8th grade. So if they do those benchmarks, that's where they're using that comparison, it's a full release of both those. But then they've got some, for the ones that don't have a repeat test yet, then they have a local assessment in 8th grade to do that comparison. So same thing.
Again, a little bit.
Yes, a little different.
Okay, so the information that you have in front of you, there's 2 parts on this. The bottom part is actually informational, but the top part is actually our data, our TIA growth data. And with TIA growth for the camp, for the district, if the students that have to show 1 point growth are the ones that we use for TIA growth. It's a little bit different for accountability, which is what I have on the bottom. So for TIA growth for our teachers, for their incentive, it actually for the students who have 1 point as growth are what qualify. So the top part I have is reading. So what you see on the left-hand side there is actually the TIA growth. But what I put to the right there, I also put our benchmark data and also our last year's star data for comparison too, so you can see the relationship between it. For TIA growth, we looked at for reading the 24-25 star data. And then we compared it to our benchmark, and that benchmark was taken February 25th. We schedule our benchmarks about 4 weeks prior to the actual star assessment, which allows them to teach what they need to teach prior to the benchmark. So Mr. Council was saying our benchmark data is based on what they have taught. There's not material on it, there shouldn't be material on it they haven't gotten to yet, so when they get the benchmark data, it's all good data for them that they can take and see where their strengths and where their weaknesses are. And what they focus on roughly about 4 weeks prior to they actually get a STAR assessment. So for reading two, they actually did take our STAR on April 8th, so 6th, 7th, and 8th did take STAR. So for sixth grade, the overall growth, we had 57% showed that 1 point growth. And what I have next to it, just to add a little bit to see how many kids earned a half a point. Because half a point is actually used in the accountability part of it, but not for TIA. But we actually had 10% that were at half a point. So we have 10% additional kids that are close to making a full point with teachers TIA. And then we separated out by teacher A and teacher B. So you see teacher A is at 66% with an additional 10% at half a point. And teacher B is at 50% with again another 10% at a half a point. And with the teachers, depending on what they teach, because we have some teachers who teach honors. And then we have teachers who actually have the general ed part and also classes that have inclusion. So they might not show a lot of growth at that particular point, but they still have 4 more weeks. And you kind of see that as we go down. Some of them might be a little bit lower at this particular point, but the half points are considerably higher. For seventh grade, 55% will show overall growth with 13% of that half point. Teacher A is at 65 with 6% or 8%. I'm sorry, my glasses. I try to make a bigger version for me. And then teacher B is at 45%, which is about 20 below. But if you look at the kiddos that are at half a point, they're at 21%. In eighth grade, we had 49% overall growth, 10% almost there. Teacher A is at 51% with 9% at the half a point, and teacher B is at 47% with an additional 11% at the half a point. So if we're looking at just at TIA data for my reading teachers, I have 6 of them who would qualify at this particular point based on TIA data. And I do have it color coded at the bottom with the acknowledged, which is at 50%, which is that lighter orange. The yellow is at recognized 55%. I have a couple who are already at exemplary at 60%. And then masters will be at 70%, just see a lot more dynamics. If you're looking at benchmark compared to last year's STAR, there's a dip in it, the number is red, but if you actually look at it, around time of February 25th, compared to last year's STAR, so different kids, there's a 6th grade to 6th grade. For approaches, it's down a little bit because last year, for actual STAR was 69, at benchmark we're at 67, and we still have 4 more weeks before they actually took the STAR. And I don't have the STAR data back yet, but we're very optimistic on that additional 4 weeks that's definitely going to be an increase. At meets, we're at 46 and we're at 42 in February. At masters, we're at 22 and then we're at 20 in February. So we're not too far off a month prior to actually taking the STAR. For 7th grade, we were up on both approaches and meets and just again slightly down on masters. And on 8th grade, we were up for the approaches and again just a little bit down on the meets and masters. And then they said they did take that test in April. With math, for the TIA growth, again, it's last year's STAR to this year's benchmark, which is also really STAR. 6th grade is one that we also always know that has a little bit of it's 6th grade is very difficult because they do have over half of their teams are brand new teams. So you don't see the growth just yet on that for the teachers based on benchmark data. But overall for 6th grade, they're at 41%. You got 15% of them that are at half points, so not too far away from getting that. Teacher A is at 35% with 11% at 5. Teacher B is at 47%, and you've got an additional 19 at half a point. With 7th grade, so you start to see if you just look at the overall spreadsheet there, you start to see more grade. So yes, 6th grade is that difficult grade. You're transitioning not just to junior high, but also with the new teaks. But as they get that instruction at 6th grade, then we build on it in 7th and build on it in 8th. You can start to see the grading, and that's grading's at the master's, so that's 70% or more. So 7th grade, the overall growth is at 46%. The teacher A is at 88% with an 8% at half a point. Teacher B is at 30%, but 23% of her kids are at half a point, so not too far off. So they're going to definitely be an increase there. And then we have a third teacher doing 7th grade. They're at 24%, then additional, I believe it's 15 at half a point. 8th grade continues to build on 7th grade, so it's 73% overall. Teacher A is at 76, and teacher B is at 55%. And then I also included algebra in there as well too. So it's at 78% overall growth. So those kiddos that took the 7th grade STAR the year before, and they're taking algebra 1. And 78% of them showed growth, and that's, teacher with 78, it's the same numbers as we have one teacher doing algebra right now. Again, with the benchmark data off to the right, even though sixth grade might not be showing the growth just yet for TIA, but if you look at sixth grade benchmark data versus the last year's sixth grade star data, we're already ahead of it. So we're ahead of the game from those, the last year's star data. We get to the seventh grade now, again, we're not too far off, it's only a couple points from benchmark compared to last year's star, so we have no doubt that we're going to at least exceed that number here, see? And then you've got eighth grade, which we're actually already ahead of where we were previously. And they actually took that star, right, they haven't taken in that star yet. We didn't take that benchmark till April 1st. Their star is scheduled for April 29th, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. And then with science and social studies, this year they are eligible for TIA with being sent. So what we used at the beginning of the year was a locally created assessment that they took first thing at the beginning of the year, because there was not a seventh grade star for science, so we had to create one. So this was the beginning of the year local assessment compared to the benchmark data. So based on that, we have overall 72% growth. Teacher A was at 52 and teacher B is at 94. Our benchmark data compared to last year's star is already ahead of the game. They took the benchmark March 18th and they took the star last week. This week we have social studies coming up, so for social studies, our team growth again, it's gonna be a local assessment at the beginning of the year. Based on compared to benchmark this year. And overall it's at 60, teacher is at 58, and teacher B is at 61. And we're a little bit ahead for this year compared to last year's star. And we just have we're right there type of masters on it, so we're again very optimistic on that. The teachers are taking these 4 weeks and we do it with what we call a star blitz. So based on the data, the teachers that they really need to focus on, they're really hitting that hard. They still touch base on the ones that they're doing well, just to make sure that it's still fresh in their minds for that, and they're actually scheduled to take that this Wednesday. So. Questions on that? On the back side, I just did a one pager, which are focus our action plan that was presented at the beginning of the year, in case you had any questions on what we're doing on that piece. But I just want to have that for your reference on that. Now, the bottom piece of the actual paper that you do have, I want to show the comparison with the growth piece. For TIA, it's only including the students that have earned 1 point. On the accountability piece, it does include the students that have 1 point, that also earn half a point. And then there's also students that we get a quarter of a, basically a quarter of a point for if they were what we call, they accelerated instruction because they did not pass it the year before, so they take a look at that and you can earn additional points for growth on that. If they didn't pass it the year before, but then they pass it this year. So that's the difference on the growth piece, so I just want to provide that information for reference on the bottom of that. Take a look, Gigi.
Ms. Cummings, you said we created a seventh grade STAR test.
And a local,
Did it replace something? I mean, we're not adding a test to the regimen of testing that we're redoing, right? Did it replace?
for science and for social studies.
Yeah,
So science and social studies, in order for TF to be able to
Right.
conduct that, we do have to have a beginning of the year and an end of the year.
Yep.
So it is an assessment that is longer, it's not an actual star. Probably lengthwise, it's about that, but it's full comprehensive assessment of what they learned from the beginning of the year through that time, and they take it at the same time
did it
that.
replace a different beginning of the year test, so we're not adding an additional test, so there's another extra test they're taking.
It's not an extra test that they're taking, and then when, it's not an extra test that they're taking, so
Okay.
it's their full end of year. They'll take a semester one at the end of the semester, but that will cover the information that they have learned basically from STAR to the end of the year with some review questions in that part.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that add a bunch of tests, that would be good, but I do like the fact that, you know, we're able to dial in, and so my next question is about the seventh grade math team.
Yes,
I don't know who A and B and C is, but can you talk about the difference between one teacher having an 88%
honors.
and then 30 and then 24?
That one teacher has all honors on that piece, so that teacher does have a split grade level, they teach 7th and 8th grade.
Okay,
So they do have that, basically what we call two preps. They're not just prepping for one grade level, they have to prep for two.
Yeah.
With seventh grade, we do have to be multiple teachers that are doing that. The goal is hopefully. I can get an extra person that was been on my wish list for next year, just to be able to add that to math. To be able to not have split grade levels, with the teachers from it. Seventh grade, it is better than like six, if you look at sixth, seventh, and eighth, you see the growth from sixth to seventh and seventh to eighth. And then the ones that we do have to take algebra, we actually went from a few years back having a block for algebra, where for the students who took algebra, it was 2 periods. We had some students that didn't require the block, for them, they could actually do it in a period, so now that we have all our algebra classes are 1 period. And that's successful.
And if a teacher teaches like 2 grades or two subjects that are TIA growth eligible, they don't get both, do they qualify on the average or the better of, or how does that work?
They take a look at everything together, so it's not 2 different ones, they look at all of their kids that are eligible for growth. And then they take that data from there.
Oh.
And then when we do the 7th and 8th grade, or the 6th and 7th grade science and social studies, we do it on the same day it starts, so they're not losing another day of instruction on it. Because campus is already in start testing mode, so that's why we have it on the schedule on the same day that actual star is happening. So they're actually taking that at the same time, so it's not at the time of the.
So the 6th and 7th grade, like this year, they had the end of year exam. When STAR is happening.
Yes.
For the students that have history or 8th grade, I guess.
Yeah, so we have history coming out this week, our social studies, so 6th and 7th will be taking their end of year, basically what was taught up until this point. And then from here to the end of the year, they'll focus on those areas that they still need additional work on, but also get them ready for the next grade level.
And then to the end of the semester, the last week of school is.
So
From
semester
there,
exams,
the whole semester, or from just from what that?
the focus is gonna be more on what they had from end of year to the actual end of year. End of year exam, end of year.
That's one of the ones in the looking at me.
Yes,
That you have highlighted in green,
yes,
those are on.
they have,
Yeah.
some of them are honors teachers, but they're not all. On it, they're just, the ones that are highlighted in green are the ones that those kids have shown that much growth. So 6th grade for us has always been a challenge, just because when they come to the junior high and the number of new teaks that they have to learn in 6th grade. So 6th grade has always been one, even with LSG, that I report on, because it's an area that we know we need to keep hitting and keep focusing on. But as they build on 7th and 8th, they even have that larger growth because they have that foundation in 6th grade. So when they get to 7th, they're building on top of it. So you do see a larger amount of growth. And then when we get to 8th grade, my 8th grade, they're strong. And they're building off of what 7th grade built, and then also with 6th grade, there's a foundation.
Right, and that's the kind of road that you want to see,
Yes,
not from here today, but that's the actual road. Not to see that this year you were here, now you're there, and then you're here. That's a growth. And it shows me also that, that it's just not a, you call it, a wasted, that's my name, that time spent is very well spent, and then it shows here. And, so again, the numbers look great. It's like.
I'm excited too.
The one that I'm more excited about is that I can see within you, and I can also see that getting home, how comfortable y'all are now compared to getting along. And I've seen you grow, but I can tell that your kids are excited because you are excited. They can see that in you, they know the expectation, so, I'm expecting.
There's
Nothing but the best.
There's you.
So, great job.
And that's what's nice about this information at the top part too, so TIA, it's only kind of the kids that earned 1 point of growth.
And I was.
Where accountability is a little bit more broad.
I was going to answer that question, because I was trying to digest the half a point to a point to, you explaining it to me, and I'm like, well, you know, how in the world are you explaining to them Well, you get a whole point, you got the point, but almost it's gonna count in again. But I want the whole man, I want the whole thing. So to get that message and to keep the energy going, how are y'all presenting it to the kids so that they will not lose that? Does that make sense?
Those
So
are the
if
senses.
I heard that had, and I'm sitting here next to Trent, and he had a point. And then I'm looking at Trent, and he also, and I'm like, my head don't count for anything. I tried. So how is that message sent out and how the kids receive it? Oh, no, that's still good. We're still proud of you. We're not losing it, that just tells me you don't know how.
And it's just that individual conversation too, because it's gonna depend on where you were last year and where he was last year, whichever kiddo was last year, on what their growth is. The half point, because I have some kiddos who did not pass. But you know what, the range from not passing to maybe passing is large for some. But the half point is that extra incentive, you know what, we didn't get there, but we went from maybe like a lower not passing to a higher not passing. So they're getting credit for that, so I keep pushing, keep going, because the half points are only on that part there. So it's enough to like, okay, let's keep going, you're so close, you're so close. Where before, someone might be like, you know what, I didn't get a point.
Yeah.
There's no one to get a point. You got that far, let's keep going. So we have those conversations with students, and it's gonna be more of an individual one, because it just depends on where they started from. Because I might not be able to get every student to pass or masters. That's the goal, would love that. But I can get every student to grow. I should be able to get every student to grow at least a year. So as long as we keep going in that direction, we'll get there. And for some of those kiddos who think some of those targets are just way out of reach. That half point is like, hey, you're close, you made this far, let's keep going, because we will get there, you're going in the right direction.
Anybody have anything else? All right.
Thank you,
Much. Okay, that was the governance portion of the meeting. We're now moving to items of business. We have one item of business, announce board member training hours. So annually. Yeah. Okay. Annually, we're required to read in a public meeting, board training requirements. I've said that there are different requirements. New board members have different requirements from existing board members who have, CE hours and then there's specific courses that need to be done. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and just person by person, and it's either completed or deficient. Morbeth Robichaud, complete. Kenneth Eden, deficient. Priscilla Robinson, deficient. James Scardamine, complete. Trent Tennant, deficient. Mark West, deficient. And Jill Westmoreland, complete. And so we have some classes scheduled, to get everybody up to. So. Do we need, we don't have to have no approval on that, we just announced, right?
And then got finished one last night, but it was one that, they didn't give a certificate or anything, I had to send information to,
Was it cybersecurity?
yeah.
Yep, okay, so you still need just one more, and you're right there.
Yeah, and that one, I'm looking for.
Yeah.
The,
Child,
yeah,
we'll get it. Okay. Oh, crap, I don't know, did we read on the consent agenda? No, we just do that. Okay, so item 9, consent agenda now. So in your board book and on your agenda are the items to be considered under consent agenda. Is there any item that any board member would like removed from consideration in the consent agenda to be discussed separately? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to be made?
Agenda as presented in board book.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda as presented in board book by trustee Hill.
I just called what you're saying, item D, can we? ask questions about that.
Did you submit any ahead of time or anything, or no? Okay, so,
Real quick question.
yeah, let's,
Before we go back.
yep, let's get the consent agenda passed without item D, so,
Okay.
can we amend the motion? Yes.
Minus item D.
Minus item D, we have a motion on the floor, do we have a second? Trustee Eden has seconded the motion, any further conversations, anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No, okay, so consent agenda has been approved except for item D, which we will take under separate consideration. And so purchase order approval for food service.
Just wanna know, I'm looking at 4 vendors. There's not one vendor that handles all 4 things and look like it would. Be cost effective to find one vendor that handles the 4 things that.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to?
Actually, I can, yes, sir. Mr. Gray actually approached several vendors, as per the FDA that he gets a lot of his funding from. He has to go out and he has to get bids from several vendors in regards to that. So he is in kind of an apples to apples comparison for these items through at least 3 vendors as required from the TDA. The TDA, I apologize for that, the Texas Department of Agriculture. With that, he is required to take the lowest bid off of those, and so that's why you see the separate vendor. Yeah, that is correct, yes, sir. So those are the lowest.
And for clarification, this is that zero budget item where it's the federal funds for food, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is money that isn't affecting the overall.
There is one that is affecting us, there is one that is affecting the local budget, item number 4 on there, the hunting services, the amount, but that is an item that was budgeted for.
Okay, oh, because it's temperature monitoring, okay,
Yes,
thanks for clarification.
you're welcome, sir.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to be made?
Make a motion that we extend agenda, that item D, that we accept, item D.
Motion on the floor by trustee Robinson to approve purchase order approval for food service, is there a second to her motion?
Second.
Second by trustee Eaton, all those, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes with 5-0. Okay, executive session, A, convenient closed session, personnel matters if necessary may be taken into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551-074, delivery of employment. Employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, resignation, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, including contract recommendations for campus and district level administrators and teachers. Okay. Okay. Oh, it broke. Okay. 2, discussion and potential action on the superintendent goals and evaluation instrument under Texas Government Code 551.074. And 3, the board will convene in closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code, chapter 551, section 551.072 to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. I'll close the closed session at 7:13. 13. I was looking for I was like, it's not here.
It's never any.
Yeah, we'll never go home. Okay, everybody back, very good. Okay, so we will reconvene into open session at 7:47. Item one, discuss and consider approval of hiring contractual personnel. Is there a motion to be made?
Motion we approve of hiring contractual personnel as discussed in closed session.
Motion on the table by trustee Tim. Is there a second to his motion? I've got trustee Robinson seconding it, and any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item two, discuss and consider approval of superintendent's goals and evaluation instrument. Is there a motion to be made?
Make the motion to, set the goals and.
Any evaluation, which one?
And the reevaluation this year.
Motion has been made by trustee Robinson to approve of the superintendent's goals and evaluation instrument as presented in closed session. Is there a second or motion? Motion was seconded by trustee Rochelle. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And item three, consider and take possible action on the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property under Texas Government Code 551, section 551.072. Is there a motion to be made?
Make the motion to approve, consider the take possible action on the purchase of shoes, lease, of value of your property.
So I think we're gonna, because we've already approved it, but we're gonna authorize superintendent to proceed as discussed.
Yes.
Is that your motion?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's what
We're
I'm
used to it. Motion been made.
We're considering.
It can be my motion, but it's your motion.
What's y'all looking at that?
Motion been made by trustee to authorize superintendent to proceed as discussed in closed session. Is there a second to the motion? Second. Motion been seconded by trustee Rojo. Any further discussion on it? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Chris, you got anything for us? Sure. Item 11, adjournment.
Make a motion we adjourn.
Motion been made by trustee Tim to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second to his motion? Motion is seconded by trustee Robinson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, we are adjourned.